Hey guys, we just released the OPL client and today I'm going to show you how to download, install and use it. So the idea is that if you use our tendencies module, you'll want to generally upload all of your hand histories. And if you have a lot of hand histories, it can be quite tedious to do that by hand. So the OPL client is a tiny program that you install on your computer and then you tell it to watch some directories and it will automatically upload all the hand history files it finds in those directories to our servers and into your tendencies database. Now, one thing I want to mention is that the OPL client is fully open source. So you can click here to get the source code. It's written in Python. It should be really easy, straightforward code, probably possible to understand even if you're not really a programmer. And we invite you to do that just to be sure that it's not doing anything you don't want it to be doing. Because we really believe in open source and wouldn't ask you to run untrusted code on your computer. And if you're a Linux user or a FreeBSD user or whatever, you can also use the source package to actually run the client. So you just download it, unzip it, and then you go python app.py, and that should do the same thing that the exe would do on Windows. But in this video, I'm mostly going to be talking about the Windows executable. So we'll have a Mac OS X package coming soon as I figure out how to make a app bundle from a Python script. Until then, if you're a power user, you can also download the source package. It does work with Python 2, which is installed by default on Mac OS X. So if you can figure that out, feel free. Also feel free to ask for support in our Telegram channel. But if you don't know what any of that means, don't worry. A proper app will be coming soon. Okay, so let's download the Windows client. Just click here, save it somewhere, then open the folder you saved it to. It's a zip archive, so you open it with, for example, 7-zip and extract the contents. And what you should get is a single directory containing a single executable. And this executable is all you need. You don't need to install anything. You just double click here and it will open a console window. And it will create a opl.db file in the directory that the executable is in. So this is the only modification that the OPL client makes to your file system. It doesn't write anything else anywhere else. And this is used to keep track of which files it has uploaded. Now, the way this works is that the OPL client has a small web server built in running on your computer. So you configure it by going through your web browser. So once you've started this, here, you go back to your web browser, you go to localhost 1337, hit return, and this is the UI of the client. So all you do here is you need to add your API key, and then you tell it what directories to watch. All right? So let's get our API key. So to do that, we go to the Omni Poker app, and I'm gonna log out of my regular account here and log into a developer account. And log in, and then I'm going to go to my lab, profile, and this is my API key. So I copy this, I go back to the agent, I paste it in here, I say add key, and then I can take this away. I can also minimize this, by the way. Okay, so the last thing that we need to do is actually add some directories to watch. So there are a few common setups that I go over one by one. The most basic usage, if you don't use PokerTracker, is to just add the directory that your poker client writes the hand history files to. And for PokerStars or for Tilt, that's going to be in C/users/your username/appdata/local/fulltilteu or pokerstars.eu or pokerstars.fr or whichever site you actually play on, /hand history /your username on PokerStars network. And now while you play, the PokerStars client will write hand history files to that directory, and the OPL client will automatically upload those hand history files to your tendencies database. Now, currently, this option is only available for PokerStars and Full Tilt. We'll have support for 888, Party Poker, and Winamax, I believe, coming soon. But right now, this first option where you work directly with the files that the poker client writes is only available for Amaya sites. Now, if you do use PokerTracker, things work a little bit differently. And the reason for that is that the way PokerTracker works, and other programs like PokerTracker work, is that they also watch these poker client hand history directories, and they take the hand history files from there and put them into their databases and then delete them from the hand history directories. So we can't both watch the same hand history directory when you use PokerTracker, because chances are that PokerTracker will have removed the file before we get a chance to upload it. But we have two solutions to that. So the first thing you can do is, in your PokerTracker, you go to Configure Sites and Import Options. Sorry, let me put it on the screen. You get to this dialog, and then you click on Preferences, and you make sure this box is ticked, and you pick a directory. The default will also be app data. And what it'll do then is, once it has moved the hand history files from the PokerStars client directory into its database, it'll then move the raw files into this process directories. And then we can watch those and upload them to tendencies from there. And finally, you can also export hands from PokerTracker. So to do this, you go to Database and Export Hands in the top level menu, and then you get to this dialog, and then you go to Sessions for cash games or Tournaments for tournaments, select the tournaments you want to export, and then you click Export Hands. And I'm gonna export them in here. And it takes a while if you have more than 4 tournaments, but it's pretty quick. And then click OK, click Close, and now you can add the directory that you just exported. So in this case, I exported it to Omni Client Microgaming. Click Select, and now you see here it tells you the hand history files it found, the status. Pending means it's preparing to upload them. Can also hit refresh. Now they're all uploaded. You can also look at the client if you want to. I'll just print some debugging information here. And that works for PokerStars Full Tilt, and also Microgaming, iPoker, and Winning Poker currently. The reason that we support more sites via PokerTracker export than we do via raw file is that Winning Poker, iPoker, and Microgaming have really horrendous internal formats that they store their hand histories in. And we may support them directly in the future, but it's just such a pain. And most people use PokerTracker anyway, that for now, we only support them once they've been exported by PokerTracker. Okay, so to summarize, you download the client, you unpack the client, you start the client, you add your API key, and then you add some directories. And you can either add the PokerStars or Full Tilt hand history directory directly, or you can set up your PokerTracker to have a process directory and then add that, or you can export selected hand histories from your PokerTracker to a directory on disk, and then you add that. I have a few final notes. Firstly, the next version of the OPL client will include the option of connecting to your PokerTracker database directly, so you won't have to export things or worry about how things are stored on disk. It'll just go directly to the Postgres database and fetch hand history files from there and upload them, and that should be ready in maybe a week or two. And the second thing I want to talk about is parse errors. So when we add support for a new site or a new network, what we do is we make an account there and we play a few games, ideally, one or more of each kind. And then we look at the hand history files and we implement something that can handle those files. But invariably it happens that, there are things that don't happen in our hand history files, but that can happen in yours. or there are formats that we miss, or just the poker client changes and writes things slightly differently or things like that. And in those instances, our code won't be able to handle those files when it sees them, and then there will be a parse error. And the way our system is built is, what it's going to do is it will save the raw input and then notify us that something failed to parse, send us the exception, and then we look at the exception, try to figure out what the problem is, implement a fix, and upgrade the parser. And then the system will automatically rerun all the hand history files that failed to parse. So when you upload something and you get the notification that there was a parse error, don't worry about it. Ideally, it will magically fix itself within a few days. Okay, so that's it for the OPL client. I hope it makes using our tendencies module easier. And if you have any problems, let us know, support at Omni.Poker or via Telegram. Have a great day, best of luck at the tables. Cheers and goodbye.